Get to all right?
Okay.
All right, I'll start my intro. All right. Welcome back to the Geekset podcast, the only podcast that blends hip-hop culture and geek culture together. I'm your boy Deuces in the building, and this is One-on-One with Deuces, the place where I speak to creators, curators, and people that you should know. And right now, we got a legend, y'all. We got the one. We got Lawrence Gilliard Jr. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Man, you know what? I am excited. I am living the dream as always. Awesome. Before we start, awesome. I need to make sure that we give you your flowers. That is something that is very, very important on here.
Thank you.
But you are part of so many fandoms. I mean, you are part of the cult classic, The Wire. You are part of The Walking Dead. You are part of The Deuce. You was in One Night to Miami. And the work that you have been doing just as an actor and the representation and the roles that you have been playing, I just want to make sure that you know, man, that impact is heavy. We grew up with you. We watched you. We celebrate you. And I just want to make sure that you know that people out here is loving everything that you are a part of, man.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. You know, that's why I do it. Try to tell some stories, some meaningful stories. Try to be, you know, sincere with the characters and, you know, hopefully educate in some kind of way or, you know, bring some kind of awareness in some kind of way. So it means a lot knowing that, you know, the fans and people are digging what I'm doing and enjoying what I'm doing and have been over the years. So that's important to me, means a lot to me. And I appreciate it, brother.
No doubt, man. What's really dope about your story, and one of the things that I like really connected with what we're doing with the Geekset podcast, is that you're classically trained, you know, with the clarinet, everything like that. But it's one of those things like that was not the norm. Like, you know, you were looked at as the nerd or the geek, right?
I totally was, bro. I totally was. I didn't know that you knew that information, but when I saw the Geekset, I was like, okay, yeah, that's definitely me. I got to do this.
Well, but see,
because I
was going to say, what makes it dope is how you made the decision. Like I said, while you were doing the training, you said, hey, I want to act. And, you know, then you started learning it and you started studying it. And you were able to get those opportunities in regards to just like, because of the hard work that you put into. But again, you still were classically trained. And that's the same thing with anime, comic books, video games. People look at it as the geeks, but in real life, though, we just study very hard and
working hard. That's all it is. It's working hard, you know. And it's funny because I took a lot of that classical clarinet training, a lot of that classical training, and I use it in my acting. And when I started studying acting, I'm just one of those people that believe, you know, if you want to do something, you got to learn, you got to train at it, you got to work at it. You know, if you really want to be the best at it, that's what you got to do. So I was never one that felt like I had any, even there were some things that I felt like I was naturally, like I had a natural ability in, but even with those things, I felt like to get to other levels, I needed to train at them and I needed to train hard. But I learned a lot of my work ethic comes from my classical background. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then, I got this philosophy that like, you got to be able to be vulnerable and throw yourself at everything, you know, that you're going to try, right? So the fact that you went out there, changed what you was doing from classical training to acting, and then you land, you know, straight out of Brooklyn, you know, off of a casting call. Like you went there off of a casting call and end up getting that role. That's amazing.
Well, you got to be in a place, you know, when you're in the arts, you know, or I think probably in anything, you got to be in a certain place where it's like, what do I have to lose? Like I can win.
Yeah.
When you're at a certain place, it's like, it's either I win or I'm still at this place. And then I try again and I win, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's just certain times, places in your life where, and I think you got to continue to have that sort of mentality throughout your life where, you know, you got to be willing to take risks and take chances and be like, look, I could win because somebody's going to win. Yeah. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to book this. Somebody's going to get this part. Somebody's going to get this gig. Somebody's going to do it. Why not me? Like, I could win. So I'm going to go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm at the airport, as you can probably hear. They're like airplanes flying over. And I just landed in LA.
Oh.
So I'm literally sitting in the parking lot right next to the airport. And I didn't know that the planes would be flying over. I hope that's all.
Said we're not. It's not even coming through. It's not even coming through like how you.
Good. Because I got to keep these windows down, or else I will melt in this car.
Man, so. It is a heat wave out here.
Yeah, for real.
So one of the things that I always ask people who are part of like big fandoms and stuff like that. So you got people who love The Wire. You got people who love Walking Dead. Which fandom has been like the wildest for you?
Well, the Walking Dead fans are the wildest. They're the craziest. You know, they're fun. Like, they're crazy. They get things like, you know, I have my leg from Tainted Meat. I have it tattooed on people's bodies. I have things that I've said, you know, that Bob's, you know, a few of Bob's quotes are tattooed on people's bodies. You know, my face tattooed on people. So they get crazy. You know, they're wild, but it's fun. It's all in fun. You know, I have an action figure, you know, thanks to The Walking Dead. So The Walking Dead has done amazing. You know, it's been great for me, and the fans have been awesome. You know, the Wire fans, you know, the Wire fans are awesome too. Like, I love the Wire fans. They sneak up. It's like, you never know who's a Wire fan. Like, they can be anywhere from a lawyer. You know, I've had lawyers walk up and was like, oh man, the Wire. Cops. I've had this one time I was sitting out on like my sister's front step, and this car was speeding down the street, and it screeched to a halt, and it jumped, and these two guys jumped out and just started walking fast toward me, and I was just, you know, I froze. They happened to be these undercover cops, and they walked up to me, and they're like, dude, your performance on The Wire. So you just never know where it's gonna come from with the Wire cats. You know what I mean?
Listen, I hold The Wire in such a high regards to the point where, like, listen here, I lived in the like that's how I feel. I can talk about The Wire front to back, themes, everything, little, because I love it so much to the point, and it's such a brilliant show, and from the
great show. It's a great show, and it's still very relevant, you know. Sadly, actually, it's still very relevant because there's so many things that are still going on that were portrayed in that show, you know what I mean, that are still happening, going down. But, you know, it's funny because on my flight here to LA, I'm sitting next to this woman, and she's watching television on her phone, and I look over, and she's watching The Wire on her phone. Now, because we're wearing masks, everyone's wearing masks, she doesn't know she's sitting next to me, you know. And I hadn't seen any of that stuff in years. So I was actually kind of glancing over and secretly watching the show with her as she was watching it. And I never alerted her. Like, I never let her know who I was throughout the trip. I just sat there. I'm like, so are you enjoying the show? She's like, oh, I love it. It's amazing. You know, I'm like, yep, great show. But I never told her who I was.
You know what you should have did? You should have leaned over and said, "The king stayed king."
King stayed a king. I should, right? That would have been funny. Oh my God.
So, quick question, because with both D'Angelo and Bob, you have some quotables. What does fans yell at you most? Is it "Where's Wallace" or is it "Tainted Meat"? What do you get yelled at the most?
Gosh, I get Tainted Meat the most. I get Tainted Meat. And I get of course, from The Wire, I get Where's Wallace. And from Walking Dead, I get Tainted Meat. People are just like, Tainted Meat, I love that. Oh my God, the Tainted Meat. Sometimes they call me Tainted Meat. Like, they're like, that's Tainted Meat. There he is. There's Tainted Meat.
Like a stripper name.
Yeah, right.
But like,
man.
Then you go ahead and then you do, you know, like, even now, I think you did this before, but you were part of The Water Boy, which was just another classic, just killing it. Yeah. What was it like working with Adam Sandler?
Oh, it was great, man. That was so much fun. Still the most fun that I had working on a movie, you know. It was great just working with all those, him and with Henry Winkler, with all those cast that are just they got those serious comedy chops. So they're just funny, naturally funny. And the thing about Adam, which was surprising, you know, you watch comedians and you think that they're like that all the time. You know what I mean? But Adam showed me and taught me just by watching him that, you know, he was very shy and very quiet. And then when they would go action, he would just turn it on, you know? He would just turn on the comic genius. It was like, I don't know if he was just, you know, in between shots, if he was thinking of what he was going to do or plotting or what, I don't know. But then when they would go action, he would just turn it on, man, and he would be there. I ran into him about a year ago, I think. I saw him at a thing. We had a little reunion. It was fun to see him and hang with him. And I still keep in touch with Henry Winkler. But that was a lot of fun. It was great working with those guys.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at your career, I think one of the also impressive things is that you've worked with some of the most amazing, brilliant people, from Scorsese to David Simon to even The Walking Dead, a show by Robert Kirkman and everything. Yep. Have you had a moment to kind of sit back and look and say, whoa, like I'm actually like doing some good stuff here?
You know, it's funny. I haven't, you know, I never really looked back and go, wow, I got to work with all these, you know, when I'm in it and I'm doing it, I try to be so professional, you know, and I'm always like, depending on who I'm working with, like I'm working with Scorsese and I'm looking across from Daniel Day-Lewis and Leonardo DiCaprio and all these. And so what I'm thinking about is, I don't want to suck. I need to raise my game. You know, I need to make sure my game is on point. Right. And that's all. Like, I'm so focused on work and getting it right and doing what I need to do that I'm not even thinking about who it is that I'm working with. Right. You know what I mean? Because I would probably, if I actually thought about, oh man, I'm doing this, I probably wouldn't be able to perform if I just, you know.
Well, and then what I thought was also dope is how it comes full circle. Because like you've said how, you know, you were a student of the game, you know, how you said Adam Sandler gave you some info and it was just able to help coach you through it. And then you find yourself on The Wire, and then, you know, cats like Trey Chaney and, you know, Michael B. Jordan, who are younger, and they're looking for you to help guide them. You know, and Trey Chaney's interview with you on Give Them the Flowers, he said that like he asked a million questions and you never got frustrated with him. So like that had to see that full circle.
Yeah, you got to, man. You know, you got to. And that's the kind of cat I am. I mean, you know, there were people there for me when I had questions, you know, when I was learning. And so you have to give back. You got to do that. You know, you got to help the younger brothers come up. And I'm proud of those cats, man. You know, I look at them, man, and they are really doing their thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I love seeing their work. I love seeing what they're doing. And I love watching the progress and seeing where they've come from to where they are right now. So, but yeah, I mean, you have to. You can't take it. It's selfish. It's selfish to, you know, learn and train and gather all this information and not pass it on. That's a selfish act. So for me, I have to do it, you know.
And, you know, I think also, like, with your personality, it also helped you with so much. Because you talk about when you had the role in Money Train, and where you were not supposed to have a speaking role, but the guy kind of froze up. And so you kind of just jumped at it. And now the director's like, hey, man, we want him. Now,
I still, you know, it's funny. I still feel a little guilty about that sometimes.
Got to. I mean, yeah.
I do, man, but you know, it went the way it was. In the words of Bob Stuckey, it went the way it was supposed to go. You know, it went the way it had to go. But he was frozen, and I'm like, well, I know the line, and they're waiting for us, so I just did it. You know what I mean? I just did it. And that's also another lesson. Like, you got to be ready. You got to be ready. When there's a friend of mine, she's a dancer. She's a dance instructor. She has her own dance studio, and she has this amazing saying. She's like, it's all good till the beat drops. She's like, because, you know, people talk as a dancer, talk, and then when the beat drops, they can't do what they say they can do. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you got to be ready when they say action, when the beat drops, when whatever happened, you got to be ready because somebody else is ready.
So you want to know what's funny?
In that moment, I was ready. So,
And I was gonna say, you wanna know what's funny? So like when I heard that, I'm like, wow, that's so like I do this. I'm a hip hop artist, but I started doing a little bit of acting, right? And so there's this show coming out called The Big Leap that I'm a background in, right? Just a background. So as I'm driving to it, right, the official title of my role is auditioning background dancer. So when I'm thinking of it, I'm like, all right, I don't know how to dance, but I was like, as I'm driving, I said, you know what? These people don't know me. I may not see them ever again. So I don't know if they're going to ask me to dance, but if they do, I'm going to give it my all. Because worst case scenario, they're going to say, no, don't ever do that again. Best case scenario, they're going to be like, hey, we like that. All right, we need that. And so I was willing. I was willing and ready to kind of leave it all there.
That's how you got to be, man. That's where you got to be. You got to be willing and ready to just go for it, Get what you got. You never know. You never know.
Now, but with you being a student of the game and things like that, you often said that you love like just being able to like be indulged into a character. So I assume a role like the Deuce had to be like amazing because going back in time, it's a period piece, and you get something that is not, the current modern day, police officer or detective and everything. So that process and that, like how dope was that set for you?
Oh, I mean, so it was the same creators as The Wire, David Simon, George Pelicanos, and Nina Noble, that same team who I love, I absolutely love working with them and working for them because I know when I'm working with them, it's going to be quality material and I know they're going to get it right down to the dirty newspapers being blown across the New York City 42nd Street, Times Square streets, the way that it really was, back in the day. And I love that kind of work just because, it does sort of transport me back in time. I love doing the research for those kind of roles, because you're doing that research, it's taking you back in time. You're learning. It's like a history lesson, Right. And I was never, when I was in school, I was never a student of history, could not stand history. But now I found, and now in the work that I do, I love history, I love doing that research for the roles and for the parts, and so that's what it was like on that. We were like late 60s, early 70s, into the 80s. And doing the research on all that music, dude, it was just so much fun, just taking you back, all that great music, and then checking out all the clothes, and then also just checking out the politics of the time. And the sports of the time and all those amazing things that now are history that we look back and we're like, wow, remember that happened, this happened, that happened. Yeah. It's like you're living in it almost. You know what I mean?
So did I forget the clacker out there? I'm just gonna clap.
You have brought it too.
I know, I'm just gonna clap.
I'm mad because I was definitely expecting you to get it.
I mean, I could quickly go grab it.
Just clap. 1, 2, 3.
All right, man. Welcome back to the Geekset podcast, the only podcast that blend hip-hop culture and geek culture together. I'm your boy Deuces in the building. With me, I got my man Liv.
What up? It's Liberace, the instant Puerto Rican Santa, the spiccato playing, beat making, motherfucking legendary ass Puerto Rican. Sofrito Papi, and we back.
As always, I got my man Bacardi in the building.
Randolph today.
Konnichiwa, bitches.
Oh my God. I hate all of this. I hate all of it.
What's good, everybody? How we doing today?
Hey, we got Didge in the building.
What is happening, people? What's happening, people? What is happening, people? What is happening, people?
He's out the booth.
But it's like I said, we are expanding. We are doing more. So make sure you go to youtube.com/Geekset. Follow us on all social media at Geekset Podcast on every social media. And rating reviews in, man. We are rating reviewers on Facebook, rating reviewers on Apple iTunes, rating reviewers on Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever platform you're looking at. Give us some ratings, let us know. And then again, this is the only podcast that blend hip-hop culture and geek culture together. We are out.
Peace.
Round 2. What I also found really cool. So again, I do a lot of research when I'm getting ready for these interviews, right? So I forgot the series, but you were saying that you have a lot of characters with DB, right? So I wanted to run down this list because there's more than you acknowledge. You acknowledge D'Angelo Barksdale, right?
Yeah.
And you said Dennis Brown and Straight Outta Brooklyn. Now,
right.
Again, One Night Miami, we didn't bring that up. Drew Brown. So it's
That's right.
Drew Brown. But then, so there's a few that I'm like, we didn't really get a first name. But in Would You Rather, Dr. Barden. I'm assuming his.
Wow.
Yep. And then And then Agent Burton. And then Agent Burton as well. And what's the movie? Oh, I can't think of it right now. But I was like, you had a lot of characters that I was like, I feel like they just kind of give it.
I know with the DB. I don't know how that happens or why that. Maybe I need to do that now. Maybe I need to hit up a few casting directors and producers and be like, which characters, y'all got any characters with DB? You may as well just give them to me.
Right.
Because they come in my way. They come in my way. Just write my name next to all the characters that are named DB in the show. They're coming my way.
All right, so here's a good one. With all the characters that you played, if you had to put together a buddy cop movie with two of your characters from different shows or movies, which characters and how would that story go?
Oh man, a buddy cop movie with two of my characters. Well, one of them would probably be Chris Austin because he's a cop.
Right.
Very serious cop dude. So it would probably be Chris Austin and maybe probably Derek Wallace, Derek Wallace from The Waterboy.
Yeah.
Austin and Derek Wallace. That would be funny. That would be funny. And of course, it would be the buddy cop. It would be Austin would be training Derek Wallace on how to be, a better cop.
Right.
And all that. And Derek Wallace would just be thinking about, I just want to get some women or, I'm a young cat. I just want to shine.
Right.
That's what Derek Wallace would be thinking about. I just want to shine.
I just want to do my thing, man.
I just want to do my thing. Kick these field goals. I'm trying to kick some field goals, man.
That'd be hilarious. And I always think about stuff like that because it's like you play so many dope characters. And it's like just to bring them together. It's kind of like one of those like Saturday Night Live type sketches or whatever. Like I'm not for sure how big of a fan of like the Marvel movies and stuff that you are, but in Loki they introduced variants. So when Loki saw every version of himself, so it's like if you was you had a moment where you see every version of yourself, like how does it interact and everything.
That would be interesting, man. That would be interesting. I never thought about that, but that's interesting. Yeah.
Another interesting question that I always ask because it always sparks a good memory. So growing up in the hood and everything, we have our escapes, right? A lot of times the escape is either going to be music, sports, but it's like, they kind of pigeonhole us. But one of the escapes that we had a lot was video games, right? Everybody, you played video games and everything. So I always ask, what is the one game that you remember logging mad hours playing as a kid?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna date myself right now because I was pre that. So by the time when video games really started popping and hitting, I was already practicing clarinet hard.
Ah, okay.
So while all the other kids were like home, video gaming and doing that, I was in my room playing, man. I was just trying to get better on the horn so that I could just elevate in that. You know what I mean? Okay. So I didn't really play like, I'll tell you, I was an adult. I can't remember what job it was. I was an adult and I went and I did a movie. And as a gift to myself, after doing the movie, it's like, man, I did good on that film. I deserve to treat myself. I bought a PS1.
Okay.
Right. And the first game I bought on PS1, I think was, what is it called now? It's a shooting game. I bought two games. I bought, what's the one? Why can't I think of the name of these games now? My kids will be like, Dad, how could you forget the Time Crisis?
Time Crisis. Oh, time.
That was the shooting game. It came with a gun and you pointed at the TV and you shoot it. It was Time Crisis. And it was, I bought three games: Time Crisis, Test Drive 6, and not Street Fighter. What's the other one with Shio Yu is in it, and the little dinosaur Gon. He fights in it.
Wait, not Killer Instinct.
No. Who else is in it? Jin.
Tekken.
Lee.
Tekken.
Huh?
Tekken.
I bought Tekken 3, Test Drive 6, and Time Crisis. And Lara Croft. I bought a Lara Croft game too. But
those are
yeah, but the one with the gun, man, Time Crisis, dude, I was on that thing till the wee hours in the morning.
Right.
I was on that thing, but I was already dope by then. And my daughter, like, you know, she was young. She was a baby at that time. I remember keeping her up sometimes. She'd be crying. I'd be on the game.
All right. So one of the things I always like to ask is, you know, I try to get, you know, some good top fives and everything like that. So for you, because you are a person who is a lover of music and everything, I want to get your top 5 musicians. Now, I give a caveat. It doesn't have to be in order because sometimes that makes it hard.
Yes.
It could be any genre for you, but your top 5 musicians that you would name.
Okay, 1 second. So you said top 5 musicians.
Yes.
Okay. Prince is probably number 1. I love Prince, right? Oh man, there's so much music, and I love so much music, and I love so many different genres of music. Prince, I gotta give it up to like Quincy Jones. Like I love Quincy Jones. I love Michael Jackson. You got to give Michael props, you know, just for being the best of the best.
Right.
There's this guy, so I got to give it up to this clarinet player. His name was Daniel Bernard, and he goes back in the day. He was somebody who my professor at Juilliard studied, Daniel Bernard. He was just a master. He could play anything, dude, as fast as you wanted, with an amazing, crazy, crisp tone. So Daniel Bernard, and who would be my 5th favorite artist who I go to and listen to? You know what? Hector Lavoe.
Okay.
Hector Lavoe of the salsa, you know, salsa music.
Yeah.
I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm very heavy into salsa dancing.
Oh, okay. No, we didn't know that.
Yeah, that's some new stuff. Yeah, it's been a couple years now. I've been into that.
Uh-oh. Your audio went away.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, your audio went away a minute.
Yeah, somebody's trying to call me. But yeah, salsa dancing. So Hector Lavoe, man, I can put on Hector Lavoe all day. Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, last segment, and I'll let you get out here. Just a recommendation, something. It could be something you're reading, you're listening to, you're watching, but something that you think our viewers and listeners should check out.
There's a book that I carry around in my book bag. Everybody should check out. It's called The 4 Agreements. It's been around for a very, very long time. See, you're shaking your head. You know about that.
Yeah.
The 4 Agreements. That's a good book. Yeah, that's my recommendation. You know, I've been watching TV shows. Like I'd say, I recommend a show today. I'd recommend Ozark, although I don't think they're coming back. But Ozark was a great show. I love that show.
Such a good show.
Yeah, really dope show. That was the last show that I think that I watched. I was like, wow, you know, I don't watch a lot of TV and films. So when I watch one, and you know, being on the inside, as you know, as a musician, and now you're acting stuff, but when you're on the inside and you're looking at stuff, you're looking at it in a different way, you know?
You definitely are.
So when I'm watching TV and movies, I'm seeing it all in a different way. I'm watching the actors. I'm like, oh, he forgot his line right there. Oh, you know?
So is there?
I'm hearing the music and I'm seeing the thing, you know. So, so when something really captures me and draws me in and brings me in, I really make a mental note. Like, wow, that show is wow. So Ozark was the last that did that for me.
Okay. All right. So to give us one thing. So everybody always has like a favorite scene in a classic show, right? But it's often different from the actor's favorite scene. So I did want to get, just out of the 2 shows, one from The Walking Dead and one from The Wire. What was your favorite scene from The Walking Dead and your favorite scene from The Wire?
My favorite scene from The Walking Dead. I have to say two. One scene was that scene where we were well, of course, I really do love the tainted meat scene. That's a great thinking scene.
It is.
That's a thinking great scene, right? So I love that scene. I do. But I also love the scene we did where we were in the horde of walkers. I think it was Bob, Michonne, Tyrese, and Daryl. When we went to the school, and then on the way back, we went into that horde of walkers, and we were in the car, and I like that scene. I like the scene where we were also when we were submerged in water at the food bank.
Oh, that scene.
Yeah, where I had to wrestle where I got bit. Scene where Bob got bit. Yeah. That was crazy. That was a crazy scene. And I'll tell you, I was not looking forward to that scene because I knew we'd be submerged in water all day. Oh, and I was not happy about that. I was not happy about that at all. But then I get to the place and, they've got the water there, the tank there, and they've got like the walker poop and dirt and all the rest of that stuff in there. And they made us get in there. And it's like the crew, I couldn't be mad because the crew were like swimming in there and playing games and stuff in the water.
They said, Marco, hello.
Yeah. They're like, let's see. Yeah, Marco Polo. They're like, let's see who can hold our breath. They're going down. I'm like, man, I can't be mad. I gotta. So we ended up just playing, in the dirty, poopy water. That was fun. Now on the wire, my favorite scene is the chess scene. Oh, yeah. I love that scene. The King Stay the King. I love that scene. I also love the scene, when D'Angelo's being interrogated towards the end, before he goes to prison, he's being interrogated and he's explaining to Bunk, I think in McNulty, and he's like, you guys just don't understand.
Yeah.
You're born in this. You don't get it. My uncle, my father, this is the history, a legacy.
Yeah.
You don't just get out.
That was such a powerful scene, bro. Like, it was just because it showed somebody who has major potential to be outside of what the family is, but has so much loyalty to the family that it's like it consumed D so much. Right. And for him to try to explain it but give that much emotion, it's like, fam, like this is what y'all don't know. Y'all just trying to police it, but this is my legacy, my heritage. This is everything.
Right. So hey, you can't run from it, man. Well, I'm glad that you said you mentioned D's loyalty to the family, because sometimes I get flack from people. They're like, not ratted. They're like, you ratted, you turned on the family. Some people say that. They're like, you snitch. You were gonna snitch, and I gotta remind them. I'm like, D never snitched. That's why he was in prison.
I ate those years. I ate them. I ate those years. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, what are you talking about? He was a snitch. I'm like, D was not a snitch, man. D held it down for the family. He would never snitch. Yeah. But so I'm glad you brought up how, D was loyal to the family, very loyal to the family.
All right, man. Where can my people find you at, man?
Right now I got a couple episodes on the show. Power, Raising Canaan.
Oh,
yeah. So you can catch me. Yeah, you can catch me on that. I'm trying to think. I just had whatchamacallit? I did an episode of the Michael Che show. That damn Michael Che. Yeah. Yeah. So you can catch that episode. That's out now currently. And that's it, man. Moving on, looking for the next gig, looking for the next one.
All right, man. Well, again, man, I appreciate you for being here, man. This has been 1-on-1 Deuces. I've been Deuces. This has been the amazing Lawrence Gilliard, and we are out. Peace.
Flawless victory.